This might be your new theme song every day.
Perfect. I like it.
News Talk 1270 KIML.
Can we make it my theme song for life, DC?
For life.
For life.
Yeah. You know what? If you want this for your theme song, it's your theme song.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay. I'll have to actually get it in an MP3 form instead of just playing it off a YouTube video. You know, the funny thing is, and promise, this is the last time we'll talk about wrestling for a while, but last night was WrestleMania, so bear with us. The funny thing is, all of these old WCW theme songs that they used were all production music. They were all from just generic production libraries. Other than a few, the Hulk Hogan theme that was a blatant ripoff of Real American. They did that because Jimmy Hart helped write Real American for Rick Derringer. So Jimmy Hart came in, wrote the exact same song for their music guy. But all of this, I mean, if we had a subscription to whatever production library they used, we could have these songs. We could use them for bumper music, well, whatever.
That's all I'd use.
I mean, we can use them. We can use them for bumper music anyway because we pay rights. So basically, anything I want, I can use as bumper music. Can't really play whole songs, but I can play bumper music from pretty much anywhere. But this is your theme song now.
Nice, I like it.
The NWO theme is now your theme song. Okay, so of course, last Friday we did our WrestleMania picks. And, oh boy, I did not do well. Right off the bat, I, even before the real show started, in the pre-show, they had two matches. Got both of those wrong. My pick for the Battle Royal wasn't even in the match, which is strange because he was listed as being in the match, but who knows? Who knows why they make decisions like that.
Right.
I don't know if, he's still injured or just wasn't ready, didn't pass his physical. Who knows? So
I don't recall who you picked in that one.
I picked Sheamus.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Because they've been teasing that the guy's going to come back. I imagine he'll come back tonight.
Probably so.
I
can see that.
Come after Daniel Bryan or something. So I got that one wrong. I got the tag team match wrong. I expected the Usos to win, mainly because their dad went into the Hall of Fame. Real life dad, by the way. Sometimes I have to make these distinctions it's because a lot of people listening don't really understand the distinctions between real life and what goes on the TV screen. There's a lot of blurring of the lines these days.
Yes.
Yeah. For one thing, they openly admit that it's a show. So you have to sometimes make that differentiation between real and show stuff.
I picked the Usos too in that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the no-brainer pick because those guys, again, they're related to the right people. Mm-hmm. Okay, so to start off the regular show, they had the big ladder match. Daniel Bryan won. Not really surprised, right? I think I picked that one.
No,
right.
We both picked that one. Right?
Yeah, Randy Orton beating Seth Rollins. Again, not a surprise.
Yeah.
Usually, for those not familiar with the way storylines work with professional wrestling, usually at the biggest show of the year, the bad guy gets his comeuppance.
Yeah.
And that's certainly what happened there. He got kicked around quite a bit. Triple H defeated Sting, which surprised me.
I was shocked by that.
And I imagine they're going to continue in some way, although they shook hands afterwards and did the sportsmanship thing. During that match, I was just thinking, because all the old timers came out, the D-Generation X and the NWO, and they all came out. And I was just thinking, in 2001, this would have been the biggest thing in the history of the business.
It would have.
It would have been I don't know if you remember during that time when they did that storyline where they had the invasion and all that kind of stuff. That exact match is what people wanted, and that where everybody comes out and it would have been just huge.
Oh yeah,
they could have made millions of dollars off that.
It'd have been best for business.
Yeah, it would have been best for business.
And it was pretty good last night.
Yeah,
I mean, they blew the roof off that place last night.
Especially considering there's a bunch of 60-year-old guys coming out.
They all come up from the senior center
Yeah.
down in Miami and went to San Francisco and put on a show.
So you have a bunch of 60-year-old guys coming out to help out a 50-something-year-old guy and a guy in his late 40s.
Yes.
So, but it was interesting.
It was.
The match itself wasn't anything special.
It was a throwback match, by the way. It was headlocks and arm drags, and it was a throwback match.
It was old school.
Yeah, I like that.
What was with the bruise on Triple H's leg?
I was trying to figure out throughout the match how that even happened.
It happened early because it kept getting worse, and we're talking a real bruise here, people.
We're talking a bruise on top of a bruise on top of a bruise. It was bad.
His entire leg was black and purple by the end. I mean, this is the kind of bruise that you have to take aspirin for so you don't get blood clots and have a heart attack from it. I mean, I don't know what happened. I mean, it wasn't rough. It wasn't a rough match. He must have landed wrong or something like that, but it was definitely very painful looking.
Yes, it was. It looked bad.
Yeah. It was a rough one. After that, a match that I didn't really expect a lot out of, but it actually turned out to be one of the more entertaining matches. AJ and Paige beat the Bella Twins. Again, another one that I missed the prediction for. I didn't really care who won.
Right.
But I mean, I'll be the first to admit I'm not a huge fan of women's wrestling, but they did a good job. It was a good match.
They did.
They told a good story, and there weren't too many mess ups as far as moves. I think I only saw one blatantly bad blown move, but other than that, they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I watched it twice, once in regular motion and once in slow motion.
Well, that's
they did a really good job.
That's the advantage of being able to watch it on their network, because you're watching online. You can watch it at any speed you want. Okay, John Cena and Rusev, pretty standard 1984 match.
Yeah,
I mean the match was Rocky IV.
Ugh.
It was Rocky IV.
John Cena makes me sick to my stomach. The guy, you see the leg drop? He does that leg drop off the second rope, and his leg hits the middle of Rusev's, like his lower back. Horrible. The guy can't wrestle. In fact, every time I look at John Cena, I think to myself, how this guy, the worst wrestler, I'll just say it, he's the worst wrestler in the WWE right now. The worst. This guy's a 15-time world champion. Name me a better wrestler. Or a worse wrestler than John Cena, as far as technically. He can't land right. He doesn't even land. He doesn't take bumps well. He lands on his arm half the time. He can't do a leg drop from the second rope.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of somebody that would be technically
There's
worse.
not. Well, there's not. That's why you can't think of anyone.
Yeah, and it was so predictable. I mean, at the biggest stage in the show. See, for one thing I've noticed the last couple of years, since we all know that it's all stories, and they all sometimes these stories kind of exist outside of what's going on with the rest of the stories. The rest of the year, something different will be happening, and then on WrestleMania Day, it'll be completely different. I think that's what happened here. John Cena will probably lose 3 more matches in a row to Rusev now. I don't think they're done with that feud.
Well, they should be. They should just move on from that.
Yeah. Now, this is the one the next part isn't even a match, but this is the part you'll be hearing on SportsCenter today.
Oh, yeah.
SportsCenter was covering it on their Twitter page as soon as it happened. Ronda Rousey, the UFC women's bantamweight champion. They have more than one women's weight class now. So she's the 135 champion for UFC. Real fighting, by the way. Real fighting. She came into the ring and did a little skit with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon and The Rock. A year ago, UFC would not have allowed this.
Right.
She's been at events before. I mean, she's a well-known wrestling fan. She's friends with Stephanie McMahon. That part of the little skit is true. I mean, she's friends with all these guys. A year ago, they would not have allowed this. Is UFC kind of edging more towards the entertainment side of things, or do you think WWE is just getting a little bit more mainstream again?
No, I think the UFC realizes, I mean, they've gotten bigger of late. I mean, they're blowing up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think they feel like they could get more mainstream. It's more about the UFC than anything.
Yeah.
And so why not put her out there? It just helps your brand.
And
It puts you out. It's good advertising, you know.
They share a fan base. Let's be honest.
Right, they do.
They share a fan base. When wrestling fans want to watch a real sport, they watch mixed martial arts. When they want to watch entertainment, they watch wrestling.
Exactly.
Okay. The other one, again, not a surprise. Undertaker beats Bray Wyatt. The match was kind of slow, but the Undertaker's kind of old. It was good. It was good for what it was.
It was a good match.
Yeah. Then I will say Bray Wyatt. Everything he did was very for a big, heavy guy. Everything he does is very snappy and very quick.
Yes, he's good in the ring.
Yeah, he did the best he could. Undertaker did a pretty good job of selling the whole "I'm still scary" type thing.
Yeah,
it was good. The only thing I wish they could have done, and this is impossible because they were on the West Coast, the entrance during the daytime. It's not really that special. I was hoping that the sun would set before they got to that point, and then I realized they're an hour behind us.
Right.
And there was no way it was going to be dark before that. So it wasn't even dark before the main event started. By the end, it was dark, but it's just not special during the day.
It's not. It wasn't. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't too bad. The sun was down a little bit, so
there
was still some mystique, but it wasn't the same thing.
Yeah,
right.
They need darkness. And finally, the main event. Before we spoil it for everybody, Brock Lesnar, who really isn't the greatest professional wrestler in the world. I mean, he's a fighter. He's done a good job at translating real fighting into what they do.
He's a better wrestler than John Cena.
Yeah, he's a better wrestler than John Cena. Roman Reigns did a pretty good job.
Yeah, he did.
He did a good job of getting beat up a lot and being the good guy in peril, even though he's getting booed like crazy. He was the good guy getting booed just like people expected. And then, of course, Seth Rollins shows up, cashes in Money in the Bank. Probably, can you think of a more shocking WrestleMania ending in recent history? I can't.
Yeah, because last year the shocking moment was that wasn't the last match when Lesnar beat Taker, was it?
No.
So no, ending wise, no.
For the show to go off the air.
Yeah, most of the time WrestleMania 2 it's usually an ending where the good guy wins the championship.
Yeah,
or something like that.
It's always a happy.
Always a happy ending. So yeah, I don't recall. I expected this to happen, but like we said Friday, if it did, it'd be kind of shocking. So I mean. Yeah, it was great. They did a good job with it.
Yeah.
And the way it ended was good because nobody won the first match. He cashed in, made it a triple threat match, which even gave him more of an advantage, which will help giving him more heat, especially after he got beat up by Orton earlier in the night.
Yeah. So plus you managed to have Brock Lesnar lose, who he's a legitimate bad guy. I mean, he's a legitimate tough guy. You have him lose without losing. But
exactly,
and even Roman Reigns, who I've had my doubts about, even he looks better after this whole thing. So everybody wins. It really was. It was a good show. I mean, it was. I don't think it was the best one I've ever seen, but it was a good show.
I wish I'd have bet on these.
I'm glad I didn't because
I'd have missed two of them.
But if it's a parlay, you can't miss any.
Oh.
So you would have to done single bets. There's no real money in that.
Oh well.
So I've already decided going to be there next year.
There you go. It's in Dallas, right?
It's in Dallas. I'm going to be there next year. I don't even have to pay for a hotel.
Let's hope you don't get a seat behind one of those big.
Oh no! What are the big rafters that hold up the lighting rig? No, when you actually look at the seating charts, they'll tell you which ones are obstructed. They're pretty good about that. Jeez. The obstructed seats are cheap. They're like $100, which is cheap for
that is pretty cheap.
But I figured I'm going to get seats in the first the first level off the field.
There you go.
I can't afford field seats.
That's the way to do it.
$1,000 for a field seat or more. But I figure I can afford $150, $200. That should get me something decent. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. They don't go on sale until June or July. So what do we have going on in real sports this hour?
Well, we have a Cowboy basketball, NBA basketball, and NHL hockey.
Okay, sounds good. We'll talk about our Final Four brackets. Mine is there's nothing left. So we'll talk about that next hour. News Talk 1270 KIML.
The #1 talk show in Northeast Wyoming. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.